Greetings fellow captains and welcome back to World of Warships with the Hive Hound, and today we're jumping right into the action with the new premium tier 6 battleship, the Scharnhorst. So whilst we're waiting to get into the action, it's quite a long match, we're going to discuss a little bit about the Scharnhorst's history during its stint in World War II. So the Scharnhorst was a German capital ship and described as both a battleship and a battle cruiser by Nazi Germany's Navy. She was the lead ship of her class, which included one other, which was her sister ship, the Gneisenauer. Now, the Scharnhorst was built in the Wilhelmshaven dockyard and laid down on the 15th of June in 1935 and launched almost a year and a half later on the 3rd of October 1936. The ship was armed with a main battery of 9 11cm C-34 guns in triple turrets, and there was a plan to replace them with 6 15-inch SKC-3 guns in twin turrets, but this work was never actually carried out. Now, the Scharnhorst and the Gneisenauer for the beginning of the war have mostly worked together. They conducted several sorties in the Atlantic, raiding British merchant ships, and during their first operation came into contact with HMS Rawalpindi, which is an auxiliary cruiser. Now, an auxiliary cruiser is basically a regular ship with a couple of 5-inch guns, and its commander, unfortunately, decided to try and take on the Gneisenauer and the Scharnhorst, which ended in a very, very short exchange between the two, resulting in the Rawalpindi being sunk. So the Scharnhorst and Gneisenauer continued on their way and participated in Operation Wiesenberg, I might be pronouncing that wrong, through April and June in 1940, which was the German invasion of Norway. During the operation, the two ships engaged the battle cruiser HMS Renowned and the aircraft carrier HMS Glorious. Not Britain's most glorious moment, unfortunately, because the HMS Glorious herself was then sunk, along with her two escorting destroyers, the Acasta and the Ardent. As you can see, we're just starting to get into the battle here a little bit. We're taking a couple of shots and doing a bit of damage to that Colorado. So in this actual engagement, the Scharnhorst hit one of the longest range naval gunfire hits in recorded history against the Glorious before it sunk. So in early 1942, after repeated British bombing raids, the two ships, Scharnhorst and Gneisenauer, made a dash up the English Channel from occupied France to Germany. This is where the Scharnhorst joined the Bismarck-class battleship Tirpitz. Name sort of gives it away there, the sister ship to the Bismarck, which were on the way to Norway to interrupt Allied convoys to the Soviet Union. The Scharnhorst and several destroyers sortied from Norway to attack the convoy, but British patrols intercepted the German force in the Battle of the North Cape. Amongst the British ships were the battleship HMS Duke of York, who was the one that actually laid the final shell into the Scharnhorst in a terrible loss for the German Navy at the time, where out of the crew of 1,968 men, only 36 were rescued. This was due to reports of a German U-boat in the area, causing the Duke of York and its escorts to leave. So, with that being said, let's get into the World of Warships version. As you can see, initially combat, we're 5 minutes in, and we've not really done much damage. 20,000 is fairly respectable, but we are focusing on the cruiser, the Myoko. Probably the biggest weakness of the Scharnhorst. It's, if you bow tanking like I am now, its armour is fantastic, but it is pretty susceptible to fires and fire damage. So we focus cruisers. Obviously destroys first, that's a given. But we're focusing the cruisers. We can see we've got a Nagato, and there is actually a enemy Scharnhorst there. But the Myoko is our priority target. We want to get rid of that as quickly as we possibly can. And there she goes. She's out of here. So back to the Nagato now. We're looking, they're still out of range, looking for the torpedo shots, because that's what this ship is. It's all about. It's a battleship with torpedoes. It's got amazing secondary guns. We have got a secondary gun build, which you will see starting to work over the Nagato as we close down the distance a bit more. So also the 11-inch guns have a very flat trajectory. If you notice when I shoot them, it's nothing like the Atlanta where we see torpedoes, your shells flying up, over mountains. This obviously prevents the Scharnhorst from really being able to fire over mountains. But when you're at close range, its flat trajectory makes it a very good brawler, because it can puncture the armor much easier. As you can see here, a respectable 11,000 damage. Our torpedoes are already on the way. I don't think this Nagato is going to live for very much longer. And there we go. And all of a sudden, we've jumped up to 71,000 damage as we look to start working over the enemy Scharnhorst. We did see his torpedoes just now that we dodged. So we know, well, he might have reloaded. So we're going to start turning in preparation. And we're going to give some return fire with our own torpedoes. Let's see if the Scharnhorst realizes that other Scharnhorsts do have torpedoes. He's turning sharply, he's aware, and he dodges our salvo. Now, see that? See those shells coming in? We had some high explosive coming in from... no, they're not high explosive. They're armor piercing coming in from the Nuremberg. It's low health. If he switches to HE, he's going to be a problem. So we are going to get rid of the easiest target first. One less ship firing at you is less damage. The Scharnhorst is pretty much full health, so we're not going to kill him anytime soon. So we're going to focus down this Nuremberg. He's turning, he's giving us broadside. He's 8 kilometers out. Our very flat trajectory, as you can see, we just mentioned earlier. And goodbye, and that's our second kill. So let's obviously the Scharnhorst's secondary batteries are working us over, so we are now going to focus on the Scharnhorst. So we're going to release a volley of torpedoes as we take a torpedo hit from the Nuremberg. We're going to look, we're going to notice that there is a second salvo coming from the Nuremberg. So we're going to keep on turning, line ourselves up to miss them as we get the Scharnhorst torpedoes coming towards us. He succumbs to ours that we'd already fired. So we've dodged the Nuremberg's torpedoes, we've dodged the Scharnhorst torpedoes, and that's the last thing we want to see is an Akatsuki coming in to attack us as well. So we immediately start to turn, firing off our guns. The Akatsuki has fired up his smoke screen. We should have changed to high explosive, I feel, at this point, but for some unknown reason we didn't. Continue the turn, hoping that the Akatsuki got a bit excited and fired off his torpedoes a bit early. And I think we're going to see them any second now. There we go. Right, okay. So that's the first set of torpedoes. Assuming that he fired them all in a spread, we're probably going to see the next two sets. Did you see them there? So we're clear of them. So we're going to shift our focus to the Scharnhorst, fire another set of torpedoes off at the Scharnhorst, whilst focusing the Akatsuki, because we don't particularly want the Akatsuki reloading its torpedoes, giving us another 9 torpedoes damage with only 12,000 hit points left. So we set off an armor piercing salvo again. I don't know why. We should have switched to high explosive. We fire another set of torpedoes off at the Scharnhorst, whilst continuing to focus the Akatsuki. I don't know if you noticed, but we also dodged the the return torpedoes from the Scharnhorst there as well. And that is kill number 5, taking us up to 173,000 damage. We pump out one of our repair kit. We still actually have 2 repair kits left, so we're gonna hit the repair kit because we're down to 950 hit points. And obviously the Akatsuki doesn't do much damage, but a couple of shots and he could have had us nailed right at the end there. We also picked up a Confederate medal as well during the course of this battle. And we're about to reload. 2 seconds. Fire. And that's kill number 6 and just shy of 180,000 damage. Quick shout out to Tiki Man, my division mate, who gave us quite a good bit of fire support there before his untimely demise. And to the end plate, we finish off with 80,000 credits, 8,000 XP, 1,200, almost 1,300 global XP, 177,000 damage, 71 main battery hits, 11 targets hit with torpedoes. We shot down a plane, got some incapacitations, 6 kills, 7 floods, 1 fire, 66 targets hit with our secondary batteries. We also picked up the Confederate, high caliber, devastating strike, and the Kraken Unleashed medals. So in short, the Scharnhorst, is it worth it? I'd say yes. It's a fantastic ship if you played right. Secondary battery build is definitely the way to go. I played around with the 2, and focusing on accuracy at distance really doesn't suit the ship that well. Because the armor layout on the Scharnhorst, it has turtleback system, so at long range it's quite easy to penetrate, but up close the citadel is extremely well protected, so you definitely want to be getting in there, getting up close, using your armor, bow tanking and firing those torpedoes to have successful games like this. So thank you very much for tuning in, everyone, and until next time, I'll see you then. Take care.